Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here, and welcome to my Resident Evil recap. So, the Resident Evil showcase was really good. I will talk about the records as we get to when those are useful for the video. I like the showcase for this one. First off, we got to see more stuff. We got actual new announcements. They put world premiere in there like 5 times though, and I was like, they really don't need to do that. We're only talking about Resident Evil. Like, the whole thing's a world premiere. It's fine. So it was kind of funny to see them be like, it was like they didn't have the voice, but it was like world premiere. I'm like, it's still about Resident Evil. Like, I know that they were showing new things, but I'm just like, it's still Resident Evil, I mean, granted, 2 of those world premieres were pretty sick. One of which being, of course, Mercenaries mode. That is back, which is so cool. I was super happy to see that. Not that they didn't have really good bonus modes in Resident Evil 7. They're actually really good. The unfortunate thing, of course, really pertains to the last Resident Evil game we got, which was Resident Evil 3. So Resident Evil 2, I thought they did a decent job. It was really fun to play. We had the, I forgot what they called them, but they were like alternate stories, which I wish they made canon. At least one of them could have been canon because they had, wow, I'm forgetting everything right now, but Kendo. They had Kendo, and I was like, his could have been canon. Obviously, the young girl on the table, that can't be canon because she's dead. And then, of course, the one with the cop couldn't be, so I guess they didn't make any of them canon. But I was like, I kind of wish they made his canon because his is the only one that's like, that literally just fits into the game. So I was like, dang, they could have said like the other 2 weren't, but I'm like, his could totally be canon. Like, that would have been sweet. Personal opinion. I just thought that would have been cool if they were like, canonically, Kendo escapes. I don't know why he would ever come back. We haven't even gotten Billy. I really wish Billy would come back. I like Resident Evil 0, but I digress. Mercenaries is back, of course, championed in Resident Evil 3 here. Very different when it was in Resident Evil 3, of course, but I like Mercenaries from the beginning, and then, of course, RE4, way down here, switch things up a bit. So, RE4, of course, changed Resident Evil in a billion ways, which, of course, now we have freaking... We'll talk about it. RE4 VR. I can't believe it. I probably should. It's been released like 1,800 times. So VR was just the next step. But Mercenaries mode, as we know it now, is basically because of RE4. RE3, kind of brought it in, and it was like, all right, it's a time attack thing. It was still pretty scary because it was like, all right, you have to go from point A to point B. You get time based on headshots. You get extra time killing zombies in succession, other creatures, things like that. You get points for dodges, which I was, I never figured that out, honestly. I sucked at it, so I never got any of that extra time. But Mercenaries came in, and it was awesome. And then 4 came in, and it was like, what if we took it to an extra arcadey level? So instead of it being like, hey, here's this set thing, which probably lasts like maybe 7 minutes or so in RE3, like from beginning to end. Even if you killed everything, I feel like at most that thing was probably 10 minutes. So you have that, and then you have RE4 pops on, and it's like, well, what if we just did multiple stages, and it's based on points? And you can get time, there's actual times that you can get. I'm pretty sure you could pause the clock if I'm not mistaken. But it was super cool. It was really fun. You play all the different characters, and then of course you beat that. I believe that's how you unlock the hand cannon, if I'm not mistaken. And so you get 5 stars in all 5 levels with all 5 characters, I think. Boom, hand cannon. It was really fun. It was always entertaining. Resident Evil 5 did the same thing. It was so popular that the 3DS had Mercenaries by itself as just a side game. So, like, clearly Mercenaries was fun. And then, of course, 6 came along, and it was like, okay, well, instead of doing it as time, you literally just survive for as long as you possibly can. And this is kind of taking it in the route of what I feel like a little bit was Resident Evil Revelations. So, for anyone who hasn't played those, at least Revelations 2. I don't remember Revelations 1. I don't think that... I'm not 100% sure if that had a mode. It's been a long time since I played those. But 2 in particular, it was definitely... a lot like Mercenaries, but I believe they called it raid mode. But it was pretty much the same as Mercenaries, except you would go through level by level. So this seems to be combining kind of RE4, 4 and 5 Mercenaries a little bit with the raid mode from Revelations 2, because even though you're doing it, it's like, oh, you get points and stuff like that based on killing the enemies. Also, you can see their health. That was interesting. Hopefully you can turn that off because it's almost a little distracting. Like, it was literally like DPS type stuff, and I was like, that feels really weird for Resident Evil. Like, also, why would you even need that? Like, it almost made no sense to me because I'm like, it's gonna be the same amount of damage as it would be in the base game, unless you do a thing where it's like, oh, this increases your damage, which I still don't need to see the numbers for that. So that, I would assume there's no way they have that permanent, and it's like you can't turn that off. So I'm sure you can turn that off, but I was like, it just seemed weird. I was like, why would we need damage? It's not RPG style. So that was a little weird to me. Even the RPG elements they've had in other games. So it's not like this is the first time they've done bonus damage or things like that. So it was really weird to see like the actual health bar stuff, but it looked fun, and it seemed like they were kind of combining the two because you get your points and stuff, you go through, and there's time based, but it's also still based on different areas, because it's like you have to take out all the enemies in a certain amount of time, and then you get like an area clear, and in between the stages you can go to the new merchant. He drops a welcome in here. I'm pretty sure they did that on purpose, and you can pick up items and ammo. They also have abilities. I like the ability thing. I thought that was super cool, like being able to have downed enemies explode. I'm like, that's definitely the one that I will use all the time. But increase movement speed, that's really good. Increase damage, classic stuff. Take less damage, increase your own damage, agility, a couple other things. There was one that looked like the image was like a bunch of skulls. I didn't actually end up reading what it said, but I thought that was cool too. So Mercenaries mode is back, and it seems to, like I said, kind of be pseudo-classic, pseudo-new as well, but that's super cool. I was happy about that one. I'm gonna lay this one down, because that's like the heavy one. It's got like 4 records in there, so that'll like crush my other stuff. Actually, gotta bring it back up, because I didn't really talk about it. How many times since Resident Evil 4 come out? We've had GameCube, of course, the first time it came out. We had to have it. PS2, updated version. The weapons were better, because I was super pissed when I found out that the even on the Wii version they're better. I was super pissed when I found out the PRL 412. I think that's the actual name of that laser gun. It sucks on the PlayStation, and then my cousin had the Wii version, and I was super upset when he unlocked his, because he shot the laser in the opening village, and it shot out like 15 lasers, and then the cutscene activated in like less than a second, and I was like, I can shoot one laser at a time, and it charges twice as slow. I was a little upset when I finally unlocked that, and I was like, wow, mine is garbage. Either way, it's been re-released about 115 times, and now it's 116th, but in VR. And it looked cool. I don't have an Oculus, so I'll probably never play this, which really sucks. But I was like, that's cool. If they're going to re-release it, which what a surprise that RE4 is getting re-released again, it's in VR. And I'm excited to see that. I'm curious how it's going to play as far as really going through, like, what did they end up changing? Because as of now, it was like, okay, it seems like it's Resident Evil 4. Like, they only showed simple stuff, which was gameplay. I want to see cutscenes. Like, are the cutscenes going to be RE4 cutscenes, or are the cutscenes going to be RE4 cutscenes in VR? Because that would be very interesting. So that's the interesting thing I'm curious about. I would assume that they're probably just going to do classic cutscenes, and then once you do gameplay, that's going to be in VR. Because, of course, if it's in VR, that you literally have to change a lot of stuff that is pertaining to the actual cutscene itself. So unless they do that, it's probably just going to be classic RE4 cutscenes, which will be fine because it's Ultimate HD Edition. I'm sure it'll be that version. And then all the gameplay is basically just a mod, really. And then they kind of changed some of the elements as far as the menu, which I thought was really cool. They did like some actual changes for the menu and stuff. And then, they showed it where he throws the guns up and he switches the gun and the knife to different hands. I was like, oh, that's actually really cool. So they definitely changed some very serious mechanics of the game as far as literally what you can and can't hold and how you can hold it. So I thought that was cool. I'm curious if they're going to add some other elements, like being, considering you can literally switch hands with the weapons and you just control how you want to. Can you throw the knife in this game? I thought that was interesting. So I'm like, that seems like something they'd let you do now, but would it just, they would have to, there's so many mechanics to that where it's like, if you let them throw the knife, you'd have to be like, well, what's the damage? Like if someone throws it at a head, basically a headshot with a knife, is that an instant kill? Did you just lose your knife until you run over and pick it up? So there's some mechanics to that. They may not even let us do that. I don't know. But as soon as they switched it, I was like, I wonder if you can throw the knife. I'd love to see it. So we'll just have to wait on that. But RE4, probably Ultimate HD Edition, is going to also be in VR now. And that's super cool. So I can't wait to see more of that. More RE4. That's not too shabby. So, going down the rest of this list, right at the top here, I do have the demo information. It was a bunch of weird stuff, because it was like, okay, we have a new demo coming out, and it was like, all right, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4 members. The main thing that I really got out of this was we'll have early access. We can even pre-download the demo today. So I was like, all right, that's great. So I'm going to do that a little bit later. And it was like, all right, so now that we have this demo coming out, it is, and this is just me kind of spitballing here because I don't remember 100%. Like, it was really weird how they were describing it. So I think there's technically 2 demos coming out, possibly even 3 if you count. Well, no, I guess it would be 2 different types of demos. So we have the hour-long demo, which everyone gets access to at a different time. So the hour-long demo, you get the castle and you get basically I'm gonna call it the garden, but I forgot what the village, just the actual village section. So you get an hour to explore it however you want to, and I would assume that's just like the RE2 demo and the RE3 demo. Well, the RE3 demo actually wasn't timed. That was just you get to the end and then it's done. But the RE2 demo was like, okay, you get a certain amount of time, and even that had an endpoint. If you actually did reach the ending, that was just the endpoint. So we get an hour to explore, and it's like, okay, you can do the village, you can do the castle, you can split it up, or you can just do one and kind of just play around. So I would assume it's not, obviously not the very beginning of the game, but somewhere in there where you just have, this is the exploration moment, which is also very interesting because it does show that we get a really open playground in this game, which I'm very excited for. It seemed like they were taking 7 and then just kind of expanding on that, which I'm very happy with. I wish they did that with the remake of 3, but I won't get into all that. So that's really cool. And then there's also some, like, they explained some random thing where it was like, that was the 1 hour demo, and then there's the 8 hour demo, which seems like it's 30-minute demos that change every day or something weird like that, because that's what it made it seem like. It was like a different experience every day or something weird like that. And I'm like, so you get 8 hours to play like these 30 minutes, and then the hour-long thing is just, that's the hour-long thing. And then there's like this 30-minute thing, which I was super confused, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure the game is super long, but I'm like, are we just getting like 30 new minutes every single day, and we get 8 hours to try out those 30 minutes? Or like, I was kind of confused by that part of it. So I'm like, we got like 2 types of demos. There's more stuff to play. That's all that really matters. I wish I had a PS5 because I still haven't experienced the first demo, and I've avoided like all videos because I'm like, I don't want to spoil it for myself. Like, Resident Evil was like the one series where I'm like, I won't look at anything outside of like the actual showcases, like anything that's like a full-on playable experience that everyone gets to do. I skip all that stuff until I can do it myself, which might not be for a super long time. I'll probably beat the game before I get a PS5 and get to actually experience that original demo that's already been out. But we got more demos coming. I'm very excited. I wish I had a PS5. This is the first time I've actually been like, I want a PS5. I wanted one before, but then it was like, all I'll do is play my PS4 games. And I was like, I want a PS5. I want RE8 to be my first PS5 game. That probably won't happen though. But either way, we got demos coming. We got Mercenaries mode. Then they talked about Infinite Darkness. I did not know that was a series. They probably said that before, so that's really the main reason I took note. I thought it was another movie, and maybe this is the first time that they've actually mentioned it's a legit series, because when it even said that, it was like, new horror series or whatever it said, I was like, oh, I thought this was another movie. I think everyone did when it first came out. So I don't know if that's brand new information, but it's new to me, so I thought it was worth noting, because I was like, oh, it's a show. If this was, anything else, I'd be very interested to see it, because it would have been weekly, but with it being Netflix, it's all going to come out at the same time anyway, so I'm like, I would, admittedly, if it's done well, which I feel like all the CG stuff, as crazy as it's been, I feel like all the CG stuff is done pretty well. I just realized I have the vinyl record for Vendetta. I actually could have utilized that. But I like the movies. I like all the CG movies. So this being a series, I'm very curious how it's going to play out, how they're going, first off, how many episodes it's going to be, because all those movies are like an hour and a half. They're just classic sort of, it's like a summer blockbuster type of deal. It's like, here's an hour and a half movie, and then that's it. We're done. We're going to do some ridiculous stuff where Chris is going to fight a dude on a rooftop with a gun, and they're going to run in circles shooting at each other, but missing for like 3.5 minutes. But it's entertainment. It's fun to watch. We're going to see Leon on a motorcycle shooting dogs and like just ridiculous stuff. Like that last movie, which I'm pretty sure was Vendetta. Insane. It was ridiculous, but I loved every second. I was like, this is so dumb, but so amazing. And Rebecca was in it. Finally, we got to see what she was doing, so I was happy about that. But we got a new series coming out. I think they said it takes place in 2006 or 4. I think they said 6, even though the game came out in 5. I guess 6 was, RE4 was just ahead of the curve. I don't know. But it's before RE4. I think he said it was before RE4 even. And I was like, okay, they showed the White House, and I was like, I would assume it's before 6 for sure, because obviously the president is dead. So maybe we'll see Ashley in there. They make a huge point to be like, yes, it's of course, Ashley's father. And I'm like, so are we going to see her? Is that why you brought that up? Because that don't matter. Like, it really doesn't matter unless she's in there. Because obviously it didn't matter in 6. I was like, oh, he killed the president. That didn't mean anything, really. I mean, it was crazy, but it was like, Ashley wasn't, we didn't see her get affected by it. So it was kind of just like, oh, he shot the president. That sucks. you know, but it didn't have like that real impact. So maybe we'll get a classic, you know, Leon. Like it's got to be. They almost have to do that. They'd be missing out if they didn't just have one Leon in there, just one Ashley Graham, Leon, you know, just Leon in the background somewhere. They have to, right? So I'm hoping that happens. I really do hope that happens because that'll just be funny. Like, wow, that's nostalgic. So it's a full series. It's not just a movie like I thought. So I'm super excited for that. It also means more content, most likely. So I'm looking forward to that. They referenced the live action film is done wrapping. So now they're doing the CG. They showed the sign, which is straight up out of Resident Evil 2 remake. So I was like, honestly, just seeing that, I was like, they cared. They cared. I mean, we've seen the live action movies, and I saw that sign, and I was like, that is like almost one for one from the opening shot of RE2, and I was just like, I might be okay with this movie. I might be okay with it. So I was happy just to see that because I was like, they care to do that. They might actually care to make this a good movie. And it's in the showcase, so it's not this separate thing like before. So like just those two things combined, I was like, I might be getting too hyped, but I would love for Resident Evil to have like one of the best video game movies because right now it's got the most movies. I like the first one. I still love the first movie, and then after that it was real but yeah, we don't need to talk about it. It is what it is. That last movie though, I did like an hour review on that. The fire went up. They poured, just to talk about this. That just popped in my head. They had a scene in the last movie. If you haven't seen it, that's good. They poured gasoline on the zombies, right? And then they lit the gas. The fire went down with the gas. I'm like, no, it didn't, because that's not how that works. Fire goes up. Like it would have gone back into the things and it would have killed them all. Because fire rises. It doesn't. You can't just pour gas and then the fire's like, I'm just gonna travel with the gas. That's not how fire works. And that was something. That was something. Wow, I can't believe they did that. That is so ridiculous. Anyway, Dead by Daylight is going to be joining with Resident Evil. Every year, I think that game gets something that's like, I should probably own that game. I found out recently that they had Evil Dead in there, and I'm like, Evil Dead. Although the Evil Dead, the game is coming out, which seems like that's good enough for me. But we'll see. They'll, Nemesis, Tyrant. I would love to know your thoughts on that. Like, who are they gonna put in as like the villain? I think Nemesis is the perfect choice, which I think everyone believes that. But they've got options. They've got some big. They could put Birkin in there. That would be pretty sick. I would love to see Birkin. But that's pretty cool. Like I said, RE4 VR. They talked a little bit about REverse. They really didn't say anything new. They literally just mentioned what we already knew, which was it's gonna be free with the franchise, or if you buy 8. So that was cool. Other than that, we didn't get too much new content. The first trailer, I think, was the first time that we did find out that the dude that in my last review I was like, this is like an alternate universe Dante. We found out that he is Big Lady's brother. I really tried. They pronounce her name and I forgot. Dimitris? I think it's Dimitres, which a lot of people said Dimitresu or whatever. A lot of people pronounce the U, which apparently you're not supposed to. That shocked me. I'm excited for the game. I'm very excited. I wish I had a PS5 so bad because it's the only thing that makes me care now that I only have a PS4. And I have a base PS4, so I'm not even going to experience, like, the 4K. But it doesn't matter. Like, it's RE4. RE4, wow. It's RE8. I'm incredibly excited. I want to see this story. I'm so curious. Like, what's the deal with Chris? Like, is he a bad guy? Is he a good guy? Is like the title art supposed to let us know a secret? Like, is he gonna get transformed into a wolf and then we save him later? They better not actually kill him. I know that was like a big thing where it's like, I'm just like, I rarely care about stuff, but it's like, it's Resident Evil. If there's anyone that should live, there's like 4 people. There's really only 4 people we care about. It's Chris, Jill, Claire, and Leon, and that's it. No offense to Barry and his daughters. Like, I know you could play one of his daughters in Revelations 2, but Barry's kind of retired. His daughter doesn't even need to fight. Like, we got 4 people. They can just live, and it's fine. Either we can add new people, but the other people can just survive, or they can just retire. I just don't want them to kill Chris. Like, I'm gonna be upset, and it's like I'm normally fine, but I'm just like, please don't kill Chris. I really hope they don't. I don't think they will. That's me being very hopeful, but Chris Redfield. Like, I just hope he lives. That's all I can say. They let Piers die. Everybody else can die then. Like, it's fine. It's fine. So that's pretty much it. I would love to know your thoughts on all things Resident Evil 8. we are, we're hitting the 25th anniversary this year. We've already hit it technically. It was in March. I'm excited to see what other stuff they announce. I hope they announce merch. This is a 20th anniversary shirt. I have a couple others that was from the 20th anniversary before they shut down like the Capcom store. So I was like buying up shirts before they closed down. So you can't buy these anymore, unfortunately. But I hope we get some new shirts. That'll be super cool. If they put out some pins and things like that, that'll be great. I don't know what else to really expect. But as of now, it's kind of just like, okay, Resident Evil 8 is coming out. And I feel like once the game releases and then, people have time to play through the story and know where we're headed in the next chapter and experience based on what I've seen, the weirdness that is RE-verse, I think after that, we should expect some more stuff. Like, hey, here's officially the 25th anniversary stuff. Who knows what they're going to do? I assume that they're not going to do anything with Resident Evil Resistance. I'm sure that's dead and gone. Like the RE3 remake, that's in the past. The Resistance is back there too. So now they're on to the new free multiplayer thing, which is going to be RE-verse. And we'll see how it goes. As of now, like I said, based on what I saw, it actually seems simpler than Resistance, which is weird to say, but I'm like, it oddly kind of seems a little bit less entertaining just based on how it looked. And it seemed a little too fast-paced. Like, people seem to be dying, like, instantly, and it's like, oh, it doesn't seem like it's balanced enough. That could easily change by the time it hits, and I hope that's the case, of course, but as of now, I'm excited. Like, all the other stuff, I don't even care about. Like, it's Resident Evil 8. I want to see this village. I want to play these demos. I want to see what happens with the characters. I want to experience Mercenaries mode, which I'm very excited to see come back. So, I would love to know your thoughts on the showcase, what you guys are thinking for the game as a whole. So, definitely put your comments down in the comment section below. Like I said, we're so close. We're so freaking close. I don't care about any of the other stuff, but I'm hoping RE8 is good. Everything has been good. I was disappointed by 3. I'm not gonna lie. That was my favorite one growing up, and so I was like, most people seem to love 2 as their favorite. It's either 2 or 4, and it was like, okay. I was like always the odd man out. I'm like, I like 3. I like the the remake of the original. It was always that, and 3 were like my top 2, and so 2 came out with the remake. Magnificent. I was like, okay, it's gonna be good. The demo for 3 came out, and I was like, it's gonna be good. Nemesis is chasing me around. This is like the middle of the game. That's what I thought. And it was like, oh, I played the game. And it was like, oh, they skipped a lot of stuff. It was like 5 minutes in. And then past that section, and Nemesis never looked like that again. And he was Nemesis the new Type 2 of Nemesis, which sucked compared to original Type 2 as far as I'm concerned. And it was just like, wow, that's sad. But it is what it is. We're moving on. We're surviving. And now we're on Resident Evil 8. I'm very excited for it. Like I said, I want to know your thoughts on everything that got revealed, the 18 world premieres they had in this showcase. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.